folks, and welcome to the Sunday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt. I'm by myself. Why am I by myself? I said I wouldn't be by myself because I forgot. I'm gone at this point. I am in my 23rd wedding. In my lifetime, I have, including my own, my sister says I must count my own. I have been in 23 weddings. 23. That's amazing. Let me see. One, you had to be part of the wedding party. Usher does count if you had to dress in a tux, which I did. The one time I was an usher. Only one of those times I was an usher. Another time I was two times the ring bearer, but still in a tux back in the day. Well, the other one was a white frilly shirt with these suspenders and, light blue pants that matched all the groomsmen. So I was 2 ring bearers and 1 usher. Usher, when I was older, that was the first wedding I was actually a part of. My best friend was getting married, and he had been to college for 4 years. He'd made new friends. So I was kind of disappointed because I thought I'd be a groomsman after how close we were over time, but we weren't. That's fine. No problem. I got over it quick. I was just happy to be in a wedding. And I remember thinking, wow, now we're the kids sitting down the adults. And then over time, it became where, that was just a regular thing. You were just in weddings. And then I don't know when, but I stopped being in weddings. And then maybe about 6 years ago, I turned to my wife and I realized, I said, hey, I'm done with weddings. When my sister got married, that was it. That was my final goodbye. I'm not going to be, and it just kind of hit me out of the blue. I was like, I'm not going to be in another wedding ever, I don't think. And that I'd never thought about that before. And I was like, wow, that's kind of, it just kind of hit me. I was like, wow, I just never expected this day to happen. Now I'm the old man getting sit down by all the other ones. But in reality, after that happened, when I was laughing about it, I had one of my oldest buddies somehow find a woman, get married, and that was going to be my 20th wedding. I remember telling my sister, and that's when she told me I had to count my own wedding. I don't think she was a fan of this person and did not want that to be the magic 20. But I agree with her. I was the groom once, I guess, in a wedding. And the groomsman all the other times. I've been blessed to have a lot of friends who graciously put me in their weddings, and I graciously accepted every time. And for the past 3 years, I've been in a wedding. It's just been amazing. One, of course, was my old buddy, and I remember telling my wife, this is it. This is the last time I have to sit up there. I mean, not that I'm upset about it. I'm just honored, to be asked to be one of the groomsmen. And I was like, but this is it. This is the last wedding I'll be doing. And I was wrong, because then my gaming group, my buddy, we had become friends that year, and he's younger than me. Everyone's younger than me now, but I didn't know this, but for the past few weeks, he'd been building up the courage to ask me if I wanted to be in his wedding because he was afraid I'd say no. And he just felt like over the year, he and I had become good friends, which I agree. I mean, if he's moving away, which is sad because at a time I would have considered him one of my best friends just because of how much fun we've had together. Now he's a nurse and he's making that nursing money, baby, and doing well. I'm very happy for success and everything. However, we don't see each other that much anymore. But he did ask me to be in his wedding. I was like, wow. And again, I told my wife and everyone, I went, this is it. This is the last wedding. Soak it all in. And I remember I did until I was out of that, my little tux or suit. I was like, wow, this was so much fun, a real joy to be a part of my last wedding. Now I can finally retire. And then my other good friend, he was long distance too. And I did not think he'd put me in it. And he called and said, hey, I'm getting married. Are you coming to the wedding? I said, dude, I told you this years ago. If you got married, I'd be there. Now he is way younger than me. In fact, I'm closer to his dad than I am him. I mean, closer in age-wise. I don't really know his dad. I talked to his dad once or twice, but I'm closer in age to his dad than I am him. But I told the guy, I said, yeah, man, you get married, I'm going to come, regardless. We've had some good times together, great conversations. And he goes, okay, good, because I want to ask, will you be a part of the wedding? I was like, whoa, what do you mean a part? Like, like I do DJ. I've done DJ some weddings and stuff like that, and that's kind of how I've been involved. That's not officially part of the wedding party, though. And I thought that's what he was asking at first. And he's like, no, I mean like a groomsman. I was like, whoa. So here I am, number 23. And the thing is, every year I think it's unimaginable. There will not be anyone else that will put me in their wedding. So maybe this is the final wedding party I'm a part. But you know what? I'm going to enjoy it. And the thing is, I know most of these groomsmen. They're all coming from around the nation. Right now, as of this, we're all getting ready to be at the wedding, but my plane ticket got janked up, and now I'm arriving 5 hours later than everyone else, which pisses me off to no end, but oh well. But I'm just so happy. I'm so happy and so honored to be asked to be in a 23rd wedding where everyone's younger than me. There is one other groomsman who's sort of, like a 10 years age gap between me and him, I think. Maybe 7. I don't know. He may be 40. He's late 30s, I think. But anyway, he does have a lot of older people, but he just has a lot of older friends and everything. And so I'm just honored to be a part of it. I'm super happy. Is this the last one? I don't know. But just like the last two, I sat there, I soaked it in, and I thought, this is it. This is the end of an era. It's an end of an era. When you stop being in weddings, you are now past your prime in a way for wedding prime. But I feel like, dude, I've had 3 good seasons of being in people's weddings. Will it ever happen again? I'm going to say no, but never say never, right? Never say never. Someone else could get married, and here I am back in the saddle. But who knows? But I wanted to talk about top 5 wedding memories I have. I don't believe I've spoken about this before. I couldn't find it in previous podcasts, but I've had a lot of good memories. One of them was recent. I'm not going to put these in any order. I don't think. I tried to, but I just like these are some of my favorite stories of all time. Yes, one of them has to do with Benjamin. I was not in Benjamin's wedding. He had been married before, and I was not a part of the wedding, which is fine. That didn't bother me at all. You don't have to put me in the wedding. But it's dealing with his sister. Maybe I should start with that one first. And he knows. I wish he was here for this story too, because he loves the story. And his dad, thankfully, his dad loves this story too. And his dad was there when it happened. So I'd been in several weddings at this time, and so his sister and was marrying my old roommate. They asked me to be in the wedding. Of course, I accepted. We played a practical joke where I stole her pet pink poodle, which was a stuffed poodle, and it went missing for months. She didn't know where it went. And so then we put a wedding dress on it. Me and my friend did. We made a little doggy. This is back before Build-A-Bear. We made a little doggy wedding dress and put it in the wedding dress and put it next to the cake. So when she came into the lobby, there was Fifi or whatever. And she'd been looking for her everywhere, thought she'd lost her little stuffed animal. And I think they told her it was me. But we kidnapped that dog like a year ago, and we didn't know what to do with it. And then I told the girl, this other girl, my partner in crime, what we were going to do with it. And she loved the idea. It was very fun. But the wedding before that, I'd just been in a wedding before that. And in it, one of my good friends, I really wish we talked more. But he was a jokester. And so during wedding pictures, he would just go and grab that bride's fanny, just boom, it's his now. So he just give a big scrunch and a hoist to it. And he did that every time. And so she would make a surprise look like, whoa, and she'd ruin the picture. And they go, bride, come on. And he kept doing it, and she kept hitting him. And he kept snickering, because she wasn't going to yell out, he keeps grabbing my ass, And I thought that was hilarious. And I told him, I said, dude, you gotta be cracking up. He went, yeah, hey, And it just so funny. So that was fresh in my mind. And we're all taking pictures. They want the groomsmen to take pictures with the bride. Now, let me partake in it. And Benjamin will be the first to say this as well. Kim has kind of been like a sister to me over the years. We've been very close, her and Benjamin, both. And we've always been close. So anyway, I thought it's going to, and Tony was my roommate before, and I knew he wouldn't mind. So I went ahead, popped her on the fanny, and she ruined a picture. Okay. So I was only going to do it once. So I did it once. Yes, the new bride, how awful of me. And Kim, with no shame in her voice, when they said, and the photographer goes, Kim, you ruined the picture. She went, Matt just grabbed my butt. And I was so embarrassed. It was right in front of her grandparents, her parents, and everything. I was just so embarrassed about this. I was like, oh, what am I doing? The jokester's gone too far. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Well, no one reacted because no one heard her say it. Well, so I got away with it because no one heard her yell that out because there was too much commotion going on. So I was like, oh my gosh, I got away with it. Of course, I didn't do it again. And Tony, Kim, we all laughed at it. So flash forward about a week later, they recorded the whole thing. And Benjamin tells me he's watching it with his dad. His dad's watching over the video. And his dad, who rarely laughs out loud, could not stop laughing because it's on, it got recorded. Of she went, Matt just grabbed my butt. And I went, oh, no, I didn't. I'm getting so nervous about that. And he howled. He thought that was so funny. Benjamin goes, you got my dad to laugh out loud, Matt. He said, that was a big deal. It never happened. I was like, with what? And he told me, I was like, oh my gosh, it's been recorded. We were getting recorded too. So it's there for all mankind. I kind of want to see it again. I don't know if the family has it. Kim has since been remarried to a really good guy, who I love, as well. And he's just great. But anyway, I was not at that wedding. That was a more private wedding. Not that I wouldn't have been invited. It was just more private that the second one was. And I would not have done that now. I have grown. I have matured slightly since then. But just a hilarious moment that just keeps getting better and better. Another one was the only time I've ever seen someone pass out in a wedding before, and it was my own brother. It was my cousin getting married, and my cousin-in-law, his wife, was super nervous. And Caleb, my youngest brother, was right behind me. And so during the service, the dude slumps on me. And I thought he was being a doofus because he usually is that. And I shoved off. I was like, what are you doing? Stop it. Because Caleb way back, and still today he does, but way back in the day, he had no shame. He would have goofed on oh crap, I thought about another one. Now that I just said that. I'll get rid of this one. That'll be an honorable mention. But anyway, he said that I thought he would always goof around. There's nothing that was outside of his spectrum. He didn't have any shame. He would act like he was slow at Walmart and be around you and act like a special needs person the entire time. He did all sorts of little stupid stuff like that. And so I thought he was trying to prank during the wedding ceremony. I was getting mad. I was like, get off me. And I saw his face. His eyes were lit up. He had this big goofy smile, and he fell all the way back. And my brother caught him before he landed on the floor. No, he hit the floor. And we kind of looked at him. We went, what? And what had happened is he locked his knees, blacked out, and was tipping up. He was blacking out when he fell on me. When I shoved him, he went the other way. And so what my brother did is picked him up underneath his arms, and we carried him and we laid him on the pew, and then went back. And then we prayed and sang a little song. And while that happened, the dude got up, acted like nothing happened, and got back in line. I was keeping my composure until that happened. And when that happened, I could not stop laughing. I was the best man. I was right there in all the photos, trying so hard not to laugh, but failing miserably. Even my dad, after Dad was doing the sermon, the little wedding ceremony, after it was over, there's only pictures because they would not record the wedding. They only took pictures of it. She didn't want it recorded. But there's one picture where my dad and I are looking at each other, and the next picture is both of us doubled over laughing. My mom was pissed that we were laughing during the ceremony, but it was just the funny, and that Dad kept it together the whole time is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Man's a professional through and through. Nothing ever cracks him. And I was just sitting there dying, and I felt so. And I apologized to the bride profusely at the reception, and she said, "No, I'm happy that happened because I was so nervous." She went, "Matt, I was about to pass out because she didn't like all the attention, and she knew everyone was looking at her. But when Caleb passed out, she went, oh, good, they're looking at Caleb." It was relaxing to her, so she didn't mind it at all. But that dude passing out was just great. Honorable mention at the 21st one, I had bad diarrhea. This is my sister's favorite story. And I mean, there was nothing stopping it. And I was going to the bathroom left and right. And I tried ginger root chews that were pure ginger, and it tasted nasty, but I would eat it. Pepto-Bismol, drink in a bottle, anything, but nothing stopped. Explosive diarrhea. I mean, the entire time. I thought, I can't go 10 minutes. And then I asked the wedding coordinator, I said, what am I going to do? Because I told her, I said, hey, I'm sorry, but not to be gross, but I have diarrhea. I mean, like bad. And so that's when they went and got me the ginger root tools. They fed me whatever it is, ginger ale. Nothing was working. Nothing. And Pepto-Bismol, this is all day. Just running to the restroom. Not walking, running. Unmanly like. Crying. No, the whole way there. And this is why my sister likes it, because when she heard, she came up and told me, she went, what are you going to do? I said, the wedding coordinator told me that when I got it, because if I got to go, which I'm going to, because I can't hold it for more than 10 minutes, she said, just excuse yourself and walk out the back door. No, that's going to draw attention to the wedding. And I was like, this is an awful thing. So, and of course I am, right before we're going, I have just made it to the toilet again, barely. And I'm like, oh my gosh, whatever I'd eaten the night before at the wedding reception does not sit well with me. Anyway, we are walking down the aisle, sitting there, and the whole time I'm getting the cold sweats. I am fighting it, and I'm thinking of happy hills, happy forests. I'm not thinking about pooping myself. And when the whole ceremony was, I don't know how long it took, but it felt 2 hours long. I told my sister, I said, watch me. I said, because I said, I cannot leave. I cannot leave the wedding party. I just can't. I can't draw attention to myself. I said, I said, just watch me and see if you can tell the moment when I crap my pants, because that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to shoot diarrhea from the back of my pants. And I'm going to sit there, Mr. Poopy Pants. And then when I walk off, hopefully they don't take any pictures of my wet behind. And it's going to be stanky. And I'm just going to keep walking and walk to the car and go home. I mean, just, wash myself off in shame and misery. And my sister could not stop laughing. She kept watching me the whole time, watching a grown man fight not crapping himself. Guess what? I didn't crap myself. Unbelievably. And I ran straight to the restroom afterwards. The whole reception was just awful. My stomach was churning, kept going back and forth, back and forth. The groom stayed forever at his own wedding. And then finally when he left, I left. I left immediately. Oh, what a time. But that's just an honorable mention. Honorable mention. I forgot that Bruce from Prince of the Universe, his one has to be in my top 5 because he, as a joke, put me down the aisle with someone that I loathed. Not hated, loathed. This was the last personal grudge I think I ever kept against someone. After this, I stopped doing personal grudges because me and her, we went at it like cats. We did not like each other. She was very snobby, and I'm sure she thought it was very rude. It didn't matter. I didn't care. I mean, dirty. We were mean to each other. Like, I found out that she was dating her best friend's ex. And she had lied. She had tried to get her best friend to break up with the guy, saying, yeah, he's a creep, he's a jerk, he's a dummy, you should break up with him. The whole reason was she wanted to date him. And so she drove out of town because he moved to Jackson, Mississippi. And I remember she was driving to Jackson and secretly dating him. I found out by pure accident when I went to Jackson and caught them together by just random circumstance. I was there for someone, a buddy of mine, and his roommate was this guy, and he came in with her, and they're smooching there. I mean, and I was like, shut the front door. And she's, the one person that she can't be caught dead in front of is me, her arch nemesis. And I am grinning like a Cheshire cat, and I'm going, you have 1 week before I spill the beans. And she knew. Like, maybe it wasn't going to be 1 week. And I said, you have to tell me the exact date and time that you were going to tell her. Why? Because I was there, baby. I went to the house, happened to hang out around. When she came by, I went, oh, hello there. Because she knew doomsday was a-coming. Either she was going to tell her, and of course, I let her walk into another room and tell her, or it was going to happen right in front of me. If she walked away without telling her, I was going to tell. And I was so excited. I mean, gloating over ruining friendships and lives. This is how much I loathed her back in the day. But Bruce thought it'd be really funny because his wife was good friends with her, and they knew that we hated each other and decided to walk us down the aisle together. Now, this is a big joke. I was not happy about it, but I was going to do it because I love Bruce. But I know Bruce was being just a turd knocker, and making me walk down the aisle with my arch nemesis was just hilarious. And that was just a giant joke. So during the reception dinner or the rehearsal dinner, she is going off about, blah, 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 blah. I hear that because they didn't tell her till the night before that we were supposed to walk down the aisle together. She went, I was just informed that you are going to escort me down the aisle. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it'll be a humbling spirits for us both. She went, oh, no. It will be a privilege for you. And she was so snooty. And I just, in front of everyone, suddenly the little bickering called, I didn't realize this at the time, but the place went quiet. And I gave my most brutal takedown. I mean, I said brutal things to her. I was like, you do realize this is a joke. You do realize. I don't think you realize that everyone here knows we do not like each other. Everyone knows they're going to be laughing and snickering when we hold hands, when we're escorting each other down the aisle. So here's the deal. And here's the most pathetic thing about it is what I told her. I said, I realize we're a joke. You don't. Your whole life is a joke. You're nothing. When we walk down the aisle, we walk out of here, I hope I never, ever see you again. And I mean, I meant every single word I was saying. And I noticed the reception had gone quiet. Every word was on me. They heard it like ice. She walked away crying. I didn't care. I went back eating my food as nothing had happened. And the next day, I remember the pastor pulling me aside and going, you're not going to ruin this wedding. I said, what? And I did end up apologizing afterwards to her. And I thought, you know what? I'm done having grudges. This is a stupid thing. And I said, look, we're just going to wipe the slate clean. She's crying. She wants the same thing too. And I did take her out. I remember, took her out to eat just to show, I didn't like her at all. Was never interested in her, but just took her out to eat to show no hard feelings. So people say no hard feelings and they don't talk to each other. But I said, you know what? I got to follow this up with an action. So I took her out to eat. She ordered the most expensive thing on the menu, but it's okay. It's okay. The real funny thing is that same night, after we went in separate cars, said goodbye, and that was it, just to let her know we're okay, we're cool. I'm not gonna, and I don't really keep grudges anymore. I don't really loathe or hate anyone. Really, I'm really fine. I can work with anyone, get along with everyone. Someone doesn't like me, it really doesn't bother me anymore. I mean, I'm just done with grudges and everything. So the funny thing about this is a buddy of mine came into my apartment that night and said, dude, you'll not believe this, but that I saw that girl, the girl you had, I'm not going to say her name, but he said, and she went out with a guy that looks just like you. This is how much he didn't think we'd be together. Because he said, the guy looks just like you. He said, Matt. On top of that, I followed him out to the car. Dude drives the same car as you do, man. Isn't that nuts? And he's being 100% genuine. He saw me with her, saw me get in my car, and still didn't believe it was me. Thought it was a guy who looked like me and drove the same car. I am not making this up. And when I looked at him, his name was Matthew, and I went, Matthew, was he wearing a red polo shirt? Because that's what I wore that night. I had already changed when I got home. And his mouth opened up and his eyes got big, and he said, you saw him too? That is how much he did not think that she and I would go out to eat. And I told him, I said, no, it was me, doofus. I said, I'm done holding grudges. I'm just done with it. I don't hate anyone anymore. I don't care. In the kindest sense of the word, I don't care. And so I named off a few other people I hated. I said, so if they come in, I'll say hello. I'll invite them to the next party. because they can still hate me for all I care. It's all right. I'm just done with grudges is such a high school thing. I'm not doing it anymore. I've just decided. And I remember his mouth was open, and I had to tell this story a million times. In fact, when the bride and groom, when Bruce and his sweetie pie got in, the very same day they got in, they came to my house because Rachel had been told that we went out, and she was just giddy. She thought that was so hilarious that we're best friends now. She was hoping we'd get married. It did not happen at all, but she was so giddy with excitement that happened. Oh man, I'm not going to finish this one, but here we go real quick. I think I've talked about this one, but my friend Marianne and I have reminisced about this a few times recently with me talking. I talked to her recently, and we laughed about this. There was one Dutch wedding I was in that they partied all night long. This thing started at noon and didn't end till midnight, past midnight. It was actually 2 a.m. when everyone left. I mean, it was just there was a midnight buffet in this thing. And I had to get a 6 o'clock flight. So, I mean, we were typically just up all night, and I had to drive into Toronto. This was a wedding in Canada. I had to drive to Toronto, and we were all like in and out. I don't even remember the road trip. No one does. We think we fell asleep behind the wheel very dangerous stuff, could have died. And now we're laughing about this now. She said, do you remember that trip? I said, yeah. She went, I've never been so tired in my entire life. I said, me neither, probably. But that was just an amazing wedding that just seemed to never end. And then another one was one that I did single-handedly save. I believe the groom thanks me on the anniversary for saving his wedding. What had happened, there'd been a mix-up, a miscommunication that his fiancée at the time, or soon-to-be bride, had a stripper at her bachelor party. He was so pissed. And I was like, that is a super bold lie. I bet you anything it's a lie. He was not taking her calls because he heard there'd been a stripper. How dare she get a stripper? That's not her. And he's just going just off the rails on this. The wedding, he called the wedding off. She's boo-hooing. I go over. None of the groomsmen know what to do. And I was like, this wedding's still happening. So I drove over to the bridal party. It is a disaster. One of my good friends, she is not like me. She would hate if I said her name because she's embarrassed about this. But she used to be a little bit of a party animal back in the day. I love her to death like a little sister. She was in the ditch, drunk as a skunk, just spouting gibberish. And, that's where I arrived. And so the whole place was a disaster. Some of the bridesmaids were drunk. Some of them were and I was trying to find out the right story because the bride is sobbing. I mean, she can't even get words out. The bridesmaids are just kind of panicking everywhere. I'm like, what? Tell me what happened. What had happened is one of her old friends showed up to pretend to be the stripper and left. Did not get naked or anything like that. Just he came in for her wedding and just wanted to say hello. And when they said a stripper, she was like, oh no, I can't have one. I can't. Oh, he'd kill me. And then found out it was one of her old friends who'd come in for the wedding. And that was all it was. But it kind of blew up into nothing. It's like, geez, I said, why hasn't anyone told him this? He's not taking our calls. So I drove back over there and told him what the deal was. And so they met up that night, made up, wedding went on the next day. And I remember both parties coming to me and saying, thank you for saving this wedding. I said, what do you mean? I totally didn't think. I was like, oh, well, someone had to do something. It was just a misunderstanding. But said, oh, you did it. And he does thank me every year for that, which is very kind of him. He's a good guy. And I was happy to be a part of that wedding. But boy, that was the wedding that almost wasn't. So, I mean, there's tons of little other ones too. One of the things that got me cracking up, there's a wisecracker friend of mine named Lance who got married. He's bald. He was so nervous. I said, why are you nervous? He went, how's my hair look? I'm just making jokes during his wedding. He put a spider ring on the bride and really made the pastor mad. He's like, get the real ring. But he put one of those plastic spider rings on. He was just a jokester the whole time, making jokes. I miss that dude so much. Big Jake, in his wedding, we got to do a cruise for his vacation, my first ever cruise. It was a great idea for a bachelor trip. And his wedding was just wonderful too. I remember at a time he wanted me to, who was it? It wasn't him, it was someone else. I can't remember. Either way though, I thought his bride was going to be a super disaster. Like we all did. We all thought, man, you are making a huge mistake. best woman ever. Best woman ever to marry. She's such an awesome one. She's 100% different than what she was before getting married. Yes, you can't judge a book by its cover, I guess. But anyway, lots of good wedding memories. Am I making more? I don't know. Maybe I'll give you a full report next time on Saturday morning Samoflange.